Hey you guys, Matt Allen here. Welcome back to Tactical Bassin. We're headed out on the water today and we're headed out early. When the post spawn kicks off, one of my favorite things to do is get out at first light and chase that morning bite. So we've got a spinnerbait, a chatterbait, a lipless crankbait, a topwater, and we're going after that morning bite. Let's go. Now, we are fishing out of the jet boat today. Not because we're going somewhere ultra shallow, but because the front of my boat has absolutely no electronics. I have one unit here at the console. I've got a Helix 9, but up front, there's nothing but an Ultrex. This time of year is one of the easiest times of year to go out and catch fish. So I brought the boat that has no electronics on the front end. We can't see anything. We're just going to catch fish together. Our water temps are high 60s. Actually, this morning they're all the way down to 65. You see the fog on the water. It's chilly this morning. That might hurt us a little bit. The shad have been spawning in the morning. So when the water hits high 60s, low 70s, first thing in the morning, the shad will come up and spawn right on the bank on hard bottom if possible. So we're gonna run some outside hard bottom corners and see if we can find some schooling bass that are there waiting to ambush those shad. So that's why I brought the spinnerbait, the chatterbait, the lipless, and then I didn't tie on topwater, but I brought topwater. I only have 4 rod racks in the jet boat. That's all it'll hold. So we've only got 4 baits tied on. It's actually 2 spinnerbaits, a chatterbait and a lipless. The spinnerbait is hands down my favorite way to target these fish when they're willing to eat it. So let me jump up, we'll get up on this point, and let's get to it. Now, in all fairness, I should tell you, I haven't been on this pattern in a year. Okay, this is one of those predictable things. So I've been fishing middays and evenings, but I've been watching that water temp. And as soon as that water temp starts to get right, you know that this pattern exists. So this is the first morning that I've come out to even try it. I rigged up the baits last night. There's that first spinnerbait we're gonna throw. It should work. It's just a clockwork thing. It's not like we've got electronics telling us the fish are here. We're going to run some of these main body points, fish that are pulling back out. If you guys listen to Tim, fish that are pulling out of the arms in the post spawn, gathering to feed. This is one of those spots they're headed. Oh, I got smashed. Oh, brutal. So I'm not just steady retrieving the spinnerbait. You notice I'm working that rod quite a bit. I like to pump those blades. So I'll be reeling along steady and then I kind of give it 2 twitches and pops. Makes those blades speed up, makes the skirt flare. Just got short strike again. It's 2 short strikes and 2 casts. Let's follow up with a lipless on that fish. Same thing, I'm using the stop and go just to try and trigger a feed. They must be smaller fish. Either small largemouth or white bass or something. That's 3 casts, 3 bites. No fish. 4 bites. Jeez. There's one. Yep, white bass. So those guys will get in on that schooling action in a big way. He's got a face full of hooks. There we go. All right. Well, not the intended species, but a sure sign of the pattern, because these whites, they'll gather up with the largies on this pattern. A little TN70, it's my favorite color right there too. The whites and the largies, they'll school up together. And there'll be a lot of small fish on this pattern. You know, a lot of those buck males coming back out, but those giant females will get on this pattern too. So you might catch, oh, missed one. Got him. You might catch, that's a largemouth there. You might catch 5 of these guys and then stick a post-spawn 7-pound largemouth back to back to back to back to back. You just never know how it's going to play out. So it's always a pattern worth running. Missed him. Got him, missed him. Jeez. Oh, missed him. There's definitely a school of fish. Missed him. Got him. Come here, bud. Nice fish. Going strong on the lipless. Let's keep this alive. This is why we came out here. Again, we're doing this blind. I wasn't on these fish. I haven't been on this pattern since last spring. There's another one. Oh, I lost it. That felt like a good one. I haven't been on this pattern since last spring. But when the water temp gets right, conditions feel right, you have to get up early and get out on these hard bottom, shallow points. We're sitting in 2 feet of water, maybe. And as you can see, the fish are here. Now, I said in the beginning, I prefer the spinnerbait. For whatever reason, I tend to get the biggest bites on the spinnerbait. But how am I gonna set it down when they're biting the lipless every cast? But if this slows down, we go back to that spinnerbait. And then the chatterbait's kind of my last ditch effort. You know, if I'm catching them and then they shut down, I can usually get one more on the chatterbait. It's a nice fish there. Oh, he came off. 2 3/4, 3 pounds. He wasn't really big, but I would have taken him. Junk on the hooks. Missed him. Got him. Lost him. You know, a lot of these are smaller fish just batting at the bait. If you're wondering why so many of them are coming off. Schooling whites or small largemouth, you know, they're coming in 5 and 10 at a time trying to get a hold of that bait. So they're just bite after bite after bite. Oh, lost them again. And it's not like we're not running upgraded hooks and everything else. We are. Everything's perfect about the equipment. It's just the way these fish are slapping. None of them are taking the time to really run it down and properly engulf it, because it's a competition with their friends to get there first. So they're taking any shot at that bait that they can get. Went back to the spinnerbait because if I can hook them on that single hook, I'll boat them. There's one. Gotcha. So the bite had died completely. They had shut off, vanished. Now I'm gonna quickly release him and get back to it, because oftentimes it just takes one to get that school going again. But I threw the spinnerbait around, nothing. I picked the lipless back up, nothing. Right where we were just getting all those bites, nothing. So these fish move around a ton and they turn on and off. So sometimes it takes something to trigger them. Oh. So I went to bottom hopping this lipless. The same way we did back on Clear Lake. Slow hopping on bottom. Took 2 casts to get that first bite. I just missed another one. But that, again, I don't think it's the school. The school was like, bite, 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 hook up. You know, they were fighting for it. So these schools will get on these shallow spots and they chase the shad all over the place. So they'll be here and gone so quickly. Now we're cleaning up scraps. But at any time that school can come right back by, and we'll catch 2 or 5 or 10 or 20 more. But I think what we'll do, if I don't catch one in the next cast or 2, we'll fire up the motor, we'll run to another spot, we'll try and repeat this a time or 2, then maybe we'll come back here, try and do it one more time. Because this bite, obviously we're out at first light. This bite will usually last 2 or 3 hours. And as soon as the sun's on the water, it gets tougher, but it will continue for a little while. It's not an instant die when that sun pops up. All right, if I don't get bit on the way in, we're moving. With the grass. Oh, and it turned into a fish. Whoa. Turned into a good fish. I went to pop the grass off and it became a bite. Yeah, he'll do. 1 hook. Stay down, you. No jumping. Hey, let's just be smart about this and net him. How about that? No. There we go. Nice fish. That's what we're out here fishing for. Man, that's fun. I was all set to go to a new spot too. I know it seems crazy that I'm even talking about leaving these fish. Most people are like, I'd sit there until dark trying to catch those things. But you gotta realize that the spot we just pulled up on, there's one. That feels more like a white. Oh, little largie. The particular spot that we're sitting on right now is nothing. I just arbitrarily picked a hard bottom outside point that's shallow. That's it. So we might go to the next one and find fish biting twice as much, or fish that are all a pound bigger or 2 pounds bigger. Or we might find that this was in fact our very best shot. But it's not like this spot is magical. I'm pretty sure we could have started in about 200 places today and had this exact same experience. When the post spawn fires up, we've got an osprey overhead. I don't know if you can hear it. When the post spawn fires up and gets going, the guys that are crying the blues are the guys that are trying to catch the fish from 2 weeks ago. The guys that adapt with it, and come out and chase this stuff, they're having the time of their life. There we go. Feels like a decent one. Oh yeah. Spinnerbait fish. Thanks, buddy. Little guy. But that is just, that's how I like to catch them. Taking a light wire spinnerbait, pumping those blades, and when they eat it, it's over. I've got them on that single jig hook. Now this morning, it's clear that the lipless is their main deal. Most mornings, it's not like that. I'll get out here and I'll just be blasting them on a spinnerbait. And then when the spinnerbait stops, I'll switch over and catch them on that lipless. And then right before I leave, I'll pick up a chatterbait and try and get a bonus fish. It's like once that school's fired up, they're fired up, they're mad. They are running around trying to find anything to eat. But if you throw the same thing over and over and over, they'll kind of turn off to it, right? 20 fish swim up to that spinnerbait, one of them eats it, gets caught, you throw back out, 19 swim up, one gets caught. Eventually, they're like, yeah, maybe I won't eat that spinnerbait. But you pick up a lipless, it's like they've never seen it before. Starts all over again. And then that chatterbait, you're down to like 3 or 4 leery fish, wondering where all their friends have gone. You pick up that chatterbait and one more of them is like, yeah, I'll try it. You get that bonus fish. You use those different baits like a system to catch those fish. All right, we just pulled up to another spot. Big, shallow, flat running up to this point. We're only in 2.5, 3 feet of water, something like that. Obviously, I can't tell you exactly how much water we're in, but I really want you to take that to heart. I mean, there's nothing fancy about this. I just got bit. There's nothing fancy about it. I haven't pre-fished this pattern for a year because this pattern doesn't exist most of the year. You can do this and it works anywhere that there are shad. Obviously the shad will spawn and do this, but even in places where there are no shad and there is no shad spawn, bass still get up early in the mornings in the post spawn. They get right up shallow and feed on shallow points because there are other bait fish. This will work anywhere in the country. But if you are somewhere where there's shad and they get up and they spawn, like I haven't actually seen a shad this morning, not one. Like I said, our water temp actually dipped a little. It's not quite warm enough for them now, but my guess is that the last few days were nicer. That's kind of what triggered it in my head. So my guess is that the last few days, they have been spawning in the mornings, so the bass are all here. This morning, ooh, missed him. This morning the shad aren't doing it, but the bass are still in place waiting for them. And I'm here, and my spinnerbait and my lipless are here, and we're getting these fish. So it works really well when shad are present in the water, but it can work anytime. Ooh, missed him. Got him. Man, I love that bite. That is just so much fun. He bit it, missed it, turned around and ate it again. Once you put that hook to him, that's the end of it. They're schooling right in front of me, right in front of me. Got him. Got that one on the chatterbait. Missed him. Missed him. Oh, he's after it. Got him. That was awesome. He had another one with him too. Look at that. He choked that thing right at the boat. There was one, his twin, the exact same size, swimming with him. Man, this is fun. Got him. Remember, the key with schooling fish is to stay on them. Don't let up. If you let up, they stop or they move because they're running around looking for something to eat. If you're not giving them something to eat, they'll keep looking. Missed him. Got him. That fish is post-spawn as can be. Skinny belly. A spot lock can hold us here. This may be a simple boat. Helix 9 at the back, absolutely nothing at the front. But I had to have an Ultrax. That ability to spot lock is everything when you're fishing. Just to hold position, to know that you are sitting in the same place, especially with no graph. Once I know a lineup on some fish, I want to sit in the exact same place. I don't want to drift around in the wind or drift around in the current. That Ultrax is a lifesaver. Come on. Any more in that school? You know there are. All right, let's pick that lipless up and see if we can get it going. There he is. Works like a charm. Come here, little guy. You're fouled up. So I'm just using a stop and go retrieve here. Oh, right at the boat. Oh, it's so awesome. there he is. One white bass to get us started this morning. Everything else has been largemouth. That's interesting. No spots, no smallies, no striper, nothing. Just largemouth up in the morning, feeding hard. Oh, there was one behind me. He wanted it. All right, once they've stopped eating it, this is where I'll throw out and bottom hop. Let's see if we can get one more, and then I think we'll call it a day, because if I'm quick, I can still get home in time for breakfast. So I'm letting that bait hit bottom, and then I just lift it up, and I don't lift it far, maybe a foot. Oop. It looks like I'm pulling farther than I am because I pull all the slack out of the line before I actually connect with the bait. So I only move the bait about a foot, and then it flutters back to bottom on its own. And they typically knock it on that semi-slack line on its way back to the bottom. It's a lot slower way of fishing. You cover a lot less water. But once you've already found the fish, or once you've already beat them up, straight retrieving, you can catch bonus fish. That is awesome. All right, guys, I think we'll end it on that one right there. This was a fun morning. Let me pull up in some shade. I'll show you these baits, and I'll explain a little bit more about how we were doing this. All right, guys, I'm gonna show you the baits, but first let me show you kind of how we find this pattern. I'm gonna spin the camera around, show you the graph, and I'll show you the sort of thing that we're looking for. Keep in mind, all these fish were coming out of 2 to maybe 4 feet of water. Okay, these are post-spawn bass. They have already spawned, they are backing back out to main lake structure, and they feed early in the morning on bait fish, and it works all over the country. You can do this on your fisheries. So let me show you the sort of thing they're sitting on, okay? So this is my helix. Let me zoom in. So this is the river. Remember, Chickamauga, that's where we are today, is the Tennessee River. So Main Lake is out along the main river. We've got deep water out here, then a shelf. That's the infamous ledge. See that dark water, or dark blue, light blue kind of a line there? That's that infamous ledge you hear people talk about. But zooming in, see this point here that runs way out? The red on this screen is less than 10 feet deep, okay? Where that red runs out, right there on the tip of that point, those fish are gonna be right there. Let's find another one. Actually, these island tops, like right there, it's less than 5 foot on top of that island, they'll be there. Tip of this point, they'll be here. What else do we have? The shallow edge here, 1 foot, 2 foot, 3 foot, way out here offshore. That's a maybe. I prefer a point. If we work our way down, see how this one comes out and it's just deep water access? That's not the spot. These fish are on the points that have that shallow water next to them. Look at this. Right here on these outside corners, this one right here, see how that shallow, that red runs way out? So they won't be on this one, they'll be all over this one. It's that easy. That really is the pattern. I can look at the graph, like I told you at the beginning, I haven't done this since last year. We ran 5 spots this morning. We got bit on 4 of them. We landed fish on 3 of them. It's not complicated. And we're doing it with some of the most simple baits in bass fishing. That's what makes it so fun. So let me set the camera down. I'll grab the baits. I'll show you exactly what I was throwing. All right, now like I told you in the beginning, it was 2 spinnerbaits, a lipless, and a chatterbait. This was the first spinnerbait that I was throwing. This is a Terminator, super light wire. That is key. Small hook, light wire. It allows me to fish those baits slower. I can fish them shallower. It's only 3/8 of an ounce. And I can fish on lighter line because I can set that lighter hook, okay? Paired up with a 3.8 Kitech. That's what I'm doing there. The second one, just a little larger profile. That's the River to Sea. And again, I'm going to link every single one of these baits in the video description, the exact colors I was throwing, favorite colors of mine. But this guy right here, paired up with that Largo shad that we had in that last gear review video. They were wolfing that thing. And then the chatterbait, jackhammer with the 4.5 spunk shad on the back. I typically prefer a 5.5 in that spunk shad to get the most out of my bait, but these shad, they're smaller, so I know that the bait fish these fish are chasing aren't giant. So I go with that 4.5, and it's a perfect little package for those fish to run down. And then last was that lipless. You know how much damage it did. That's that Jackal TN70, and this is my actual favorite color. And I swear that is the most overlooked color. Nobody throws that thing, but they wolf it, as you saw. Oh, and I actually, normally I throw a lipless on the 845 CBR. This is the 855. This is the brand new lipless rod. And this was the first time I fished with it, and I enjoyed that. I mean, you guys saw it go down. I was very happy with this rod overall. I had it on fluoro because I was in a rush to get out the door this morning, and I grabbed a reel with fluoro on it. In hindsight, I would have much preferred braid to leader. I have a lot more control over those fish. When they're trying to come up and jump, I can really pull on them. I think I would have landed a couple more fish had I been braid to leader instead of straight fluoro, but that's all right. Next time. So those were the baits I was throwing, guys, and it is 8:07 in the morning. I was not joking. I think I can get home in time for breakfast. So I'm gonna wrap it up right here. If you guys enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll talk to you soon.